80 and send to 29588. And you can win up to 30 million shillings every 4 minutes. Deposit, play and win with Mega Dollar. The big game for big winners.
Good evening and welcome. My name is Victor Moyakane. We have a lot in store for you. For an idea of that, here are the highlights.
We might focus on enhancing budget to sectors like Youth Enterprise Fund, sectors like Uwezo Fund, than giving billions of shillings to a small agency which have so many issues.
National Assembly's Labour Committee seeks to halt procurement of mass transit buses as probe into the NYS scandal continues.
Tumesema ya kwamba tutajenga damu ya Highland Falls ili kuzuia mafuriko. Wakati kuna mafuriko tunahakikisha kwamba damu inazuia mafuriko yasije yakaharibu mali na maisha ya wananchi.
Deputy President William Ruto says that the government will build dams to curb the flood menace that has occasioned deaths.
Now, if you need some English lessons on defund, I maintain my position and no amount of intimidation shall push me away from that. Thank you.
You need to acquaint yourself with the English language. Pandemonium at the ongoing legislative summit as MCAs protest over Senator Kajwang's remarks. And the government extends the ban on logging by 6 months. Our sign language interpreter this evening is Lucy Mwara. I would like to have your feedback, would love to have it as a matter of fact. Would like to know what you think about the stories that you have seen and the ones that are coming up in a bit. And here's how you can get in touch with us and share with us your views. 22162 is the SMS number at the top corner of your screen, and we shall be happy to sample your feedback through that medium. And for those of you who are digitally inclined, Twitter is open at KBC Channel 1 at Muyakane, and we shall be able to once again sample your feedback in the course of this news bulletin. With that out of the way, we begin our news in Parliament. And the National Assembly's Labour and Social Welfare Committee has written to Treasury seeking to stop the procurement of 50 mass transit buses by the National Youth Service for Nairobi public transport. The MPs want Treasury to freeze funds, querying the Ministry of Public Service and Youth for investing outside the agency's mandate. The Labour Committee has also resolved to slash the NYS's budget for the next financial year and relocate the money to the Youth Enterprise Development Fund and the Women Fund, following the alleged massive corruption at the National Youth Service.
In the wake of alleged embezzlement of 9 billion shillings at National Youth Service, National Assembly's Labour and Social Welfare Committee, which oversees the body, has resolved to slash the budget for the agency. The National Youth Service has requested 22 billion shillings for 2018-2019 financial year, but MPs are not impressed with the utilization of public resources at the agency.
This is a very small agency with a lot of money. We are not happy as representatives of the people with how the public resources are being utilized at NYS. We might focus on enhancing budget to sectors like Youth Enterprise Fund, sectors like Uwezo Fund, than giving billions of shillings to a small agency which have so many issues.
According to Labour Committee Chairperson Ali Wario, the slashed funds from NYS budget will enhance Youth Enterprise Development Fund, Women Enterprise Fund, Uwezo Fund, as well as arid and semi-arid areas programs. The MPs also want Treasury to stop procurement of 50 buses currently being done by National Youth Service at 900 million shillings. The Labour Committee queries the Ministry of Public Service, Youth and Gender for investing public resources in a devolved function. The buses meant for Nairobi mass transit seeks to decongest the city traffic and restore sanity in the public transport sector, currently in the hands of private sector.
We say there's no need, there's no emergency, which forced the CS to buy 50 buses through Section 223. The mandate and the schedule for the mandate of public transport squarely falls under county government. So you can't mix these roles. Therefore, we said as a committee and instruct the department concerned to halt the buying of those buses.
The long-term solution for dealing with corruption at NYS, according to Labour Committee, lies in restructuring the agency. The MPs are now mulling over introducing a legislation that will establish a board of directors to oversight National Youth Service and detach the agency from influence of the principal ministry. Kevin Washira, Channel 1 News.
Now, it's that story that leads us to our opinion poll question tonight, or our big question. And we ask you, do you support the hold or the restriction on the importation of buses by the NYS? Specifically, do you support the move to stop the importation of mass transit buses by NYS? Let us know what you think through the SMS line at the top corner of your screen. That is 22162. Let us know what you think about that. On Twitter as well, you can let us know through our handle at KBC Channel 1, and you can tag me at Muyakane, and I'll be happy to figure out what you have to say about that. Once again, do you support the move to hold or to halt or to stop the importation of mass transit buses by the NYS? In other news, the former Transport Cabinet Secretary, Engineer Michael Kamau, has been ordered to present himself before the Anti-Corruption Court on Wednesday next week. Kamau is being sought in relation to a tender case where the taxpayer lost 33 million shillings. The Anti-Corruption Chief Magistrate, Douglas Ogot, issued the orders following an application by the Director of Public Prosecution. Now, Ben Chumba brings you the story.
Less than 24 hours after officials from the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission raided the home of former Transport CS Michael Kamau in Nairobi, the Anti-Corruption Court has directed that he presents himself to the court. In a ruling by Chief Magistrate Douglas Ogot, Kamau should appear before the court on 30th May 2018 to explain circumstances under which the taxpayer lost 33 million shillings through a tender for Kamukunywa, Kaptama, Kapsokwan, Sirisia Road. In applying for summons to be issued to Engineer Kamau, the Director of Public Prosecution alleged that on 15th March 2008, Engineer Kamau conspired with members of the Ministerial Tender Committee to disobey government regulations and proceeded to redesign Kamukunywa, Kaptama, Kapsokwan, Sirisia Road, leading to the loss of 33 million shillings. Kamau is expected to face 4 fresh counts. He is further accused of massively embezzling public funds after scheming with officials of the company which built the road to scrap the consultant's design. Meanwhile, 2 engineers, Mwangi Maingi and Nicholas Nganga, accused alongside the former transport CS, have denied 4 counts, among them abuse of office, and released on a cash bail of 500,000 shillings each. The former CS has recently been set free by the Court of Appeal after he successfully fought corruption charges against him on grounds that EACC was not properly constituted at the time it investigated him, forcing the DPP to institute fresh charges. Ben Chumba reporting for Channel 1 NewsHour.
Deputy President William Ruto says that the government will build dams to curb the flood menace that has led to deaths, displacement of people and destruction of property in parts of the country. Speaking when he toured the flood-ravaged Tana River and Kilifi counties, the Deputy President said that the government will also assist the affected families with food, medicine and shelter.
There has been no let-up as the rains continue to pound across the country. More Kenyans feeling the wrath of nature. The floods have led to loss of lives and destruction of property. Speaking when he toured Tana River and Kilifi counties among the regions severely affected by the floods, Deputy President William Ruto was seeking mitigation measures.
Tumeanzisha mpango rasmi na tunataka tufanye kazi na county government. Mambo matatu. Kwanza, hizi mto huu wa Tana na mto ule wa Ardhi upande ule mwingine, tumesema ya kwamba tutajenga damu ya Highland Falls ili kuzuia mafuriko.
Deputy President William Ruto said that the government was seeking mitigation measures. Ruto said that the government is committed to addressing the recurring food shortages in the region. He said at least 1.5 billion shillings has been set aside for the completion of Bura Water Canal, which will act as a source of water for irrigation. Ruto was accompanied by Cabinet Secretaries Eugene Wamalwa and Simon Chelugui and Governors Dado Godana and Amason Kingi in a food distribution exercise.
Jua kuna wale ambao walipoteza wapendwa wao. Nimepatia County Commissioner shilingi 50,000 kwa kila familia, wapatiwe pesa waweze kushughulikia wale wapendwa wao.
The leaders who condoled with the families that lost their loved ones said the government will build high ground falls dams in rivers Atana, Sabaki and Galana to contain floods in the region. And as the deadly deluge rages, over 200 families in Kawaida village, Kiambu County, have been forced to move out of their homes after their village was marooned.
It has never come to this level. It has been appearing, but not at this level. Now it means that before the rain stops, the whole of this area will be covered by water. Where are we going to go? What are we going to do?
Owners of 20 houses were forced to move to safer grounds. Finally, Tuo Dam in Tiaki, Baringo County, that was full of water is now empty, sending panic among locals. Water in the dam is believed to have seeped to the ground, and locals fear it could lead to a major landslide in the area. The dam, constructed to the tune of 3.5 million shillings, had a capacity of 14 million litres and was to serve a population of 3,000 people. Maria Losile, the MCA of Loyamarok Ward, has called on experts to visit the place to establish the cause of the strange phenomena.
Watu wamestuka saa hii, au watu wamehama kwa manyumba yao, wako wanaishi wameenda kando kando, na hatujui sasa sehemu hii itakayofanyika ni nini. Kwa hivyo maombi yangu ni kwamba naomba serikali waje kwa haraka sana, wakuja waangalie sehemu hii, waone ni hatua gani wanaweza kuchukulia.
Caroline Kamara reporting for Channel 1 NewsHour.
Now here's an interesting thing that emerged today at the Legislative Summit. A sentiment by Homa Bay Senator Moses Kajwang insinuating that members of the county assemblies were not capable in the English language drew condemnation in the ongoing Legislative Summit in Mombasa. The MCAs attending the forum were irked by the remark, creating a pandemonium in the hall, with the MCAs bringing the session to an abrupt halt. Take a look at the story.
I maintain my position, and no amount of intimidation shall push me away from that. Thank you.
Wednesday morning preliminary session at the ongoing Legislative Summit will turn into an emotional exchange of words between MCAs and Homa Bay Senator Moses Kajwang.
Can we be able to give them the chance?
The commotion created by Kajwang's remarks that the MCAs need more tutorials in the English language.
My leader in the Senate, Kipchumba Murkomen, said we will provide principles and framework for establishment of World Development Fund. If you look at your constitution, Article 207 requires Senate to do that. And that is exactly what we will do. Now, if you need some English lessons on defund, I maintain my position and no amount of intimidation shall push me away from that.
It will take the intervention of Murang'a Senator Irungu Kang'ata to try and convince the MCAs, but to no avail.
This law I am making, I have taken into account everything, and no one will be able to challenge it before the High Court, and this bill is constitutional. So with those few remarks, I want to assure you that we must fight for this bill, and even the Treasury, which has been opposing this bill, we are going to tell them no, this bill must go through. Thank you. Further assurance, further Mheshimiwa, sorry.
Kajwang had added fuel to fire after Elgeyo Marakwet senator pricked by the MCAs that they cannot blackmail Senate into passing the ward rep kitty until they had formulated guidelines around the said bill, a move that did not rest well with them.
Not say here, through heckling and brickmanship and blackmail, you will force senators to pass the bill. I will have a problem pushing for that bill to succeed. Because when we go back to the chambers, everybody will say, let Kang'ata and those MCAs who are making noise come and pass that bill. Kajwang just said in English that, you know, we will deal with, provide framework, we will not be prescriptive. Because if we become prescriptive, we are going to violate the constitutional tenets of the county assemblies having the power to legislate. Absolutely nothing else. If you have a problem with that, you are undermining the capacity of county assemblies. That is what really we are talking about.
The bill that is in its second reading at the Senate seeks to allocate 25 million shillings in each county allocated toward representatives.
And that's why we did not agree with Honorable Kajwang when he said that if we feel that we do not know English, that we go to him such that he can tutor us on that. That's where we really disagree and felt that he is really demeaning the capacity, the cognitive capability of the county assembly.
What we saw today in the hall, in my opinion, is very unfortunate, because either one legislator did not understand the context on which the other one was raising a point, and I want to call upon my members to calm down and to engage on real issues in this 2 days conference.
According to the MCAs, the kitty will eliminate marginalization by county chiefs and the legislators who have funds to steer development within their jurisdictions.
That's why we are saying, can we get more money so that we can address issues which are very pertinent and which are affecting our people. But the Senate is trying to threaten and say that the mandate is theirs. Yes, it is theirs. We are reading with them that Mwananchi is watching you, and they are reasoning that you people don't want to agree with what they want. When we are talking on behalf of the Mugakas and the Wanchikos.
Juni Karisa for Channel 1 News from Mombasa County.
What do you think about that story? Do you think that the MCAs are unable to or have an improper grasp of the Queen's language? What do you say? Let us know what you think about that situation. Now, in other news, the Environment CS, Keriako Tobiko, has extended the ban on logging in all public and community forests for another 6 months. Tobiko says that the directive is aimed at streamlining the operations of the Kenya Forest Service and the management of the forestry sector. Linus Moshigadi with more.
People and institutions in the country that depend on forests will have to dig deeper in their pockets as the ban on logging continues for another 6 months. Issuing the directive, Environment CS Keriako Tobiko says the extension allows room for the appointment of the new board of Kenya Forest Service. Tobiko further clarifies that the duration will provide time for interim reports to be implemented at KFS, finalization of interim report by Committee on Reforms, and to undertake immediate measures to streamline the operations of KFS and the management of the forestry sector. The new directive takes effect immediately following the lapse of the 90 days ban issued by the government on February 24th this month. The ban on logging was announced by Deputy President William Ruto at the height of forest destruction in Kenya. The move is aimed at restoring Kenya's dwindling forest cover to 10% by 2020. A report produced by the Kenya Water Towers Agency highlighted the extensive damage on forests, calling for the immediate action to end the decimation. Linus Moshigadi for Channel 1 News.
Lecturers want the establishment of the University Service Commission, which is similar to the Public Service Commission, to look into the welfare of public university staff. Through the university's academic staff union, the Dons say that the University Service Commission will have powers to employ staff in institutions of higher learning to cure rampant nepotism and tribalism. The union is also opposed to plans to have the Public Service Commission interview vice-chancellors and have them serve for a single 5-year term.
The best appointment of chancellors and vice-chancellors was left in the hands of powerful public university councils. However, the script is likely to change following the introduction of the Public Service Commission into the recruitment process. A proposal by the National Assembly Education Committee in the Miscellaneous Amendment Bill 2018 seeks to have the Public Service Commission have a say on who will be at the helm of the public institutions of higher learning.
Bill before the House that proposes that the Vice Chancellor should be appointed by the Public Service. In our opinion, we feel that the Public Service Commission wants to usurp the autonomy of the universities. So we are proposing that instead of Public Service Commission meddling in the affairs of the universities, that function should be left to a search committee.
But university's academic staff has raised objections to the proposals, saying it will take away the autonomy of universities and create room for political manipulations.
If the Senate is going to be given this important role of choosing a chancellor, then the Senate must also be appointed democratically. Because what is happening now, most Senate members are being appointed by the Vice Chancellor. And if they're not vetted, they can influence the appointment of a Vice Chancellor.
WASU Secretary General Constantine Wasonga says there is need to set up Universities Service Commission that will deal with issues of employment, transfers and promotions and look into the welfare of such staff.
A very serious issue in public universities today. And the issue here is tribalism, nepotism.
And we don't need these many councils I'm seeing around. We need University Service Commission with 9 councils or commissioners to deal with the recruitment, appointment.
The Lecturers Union is also opposed to the proposal to have Vice Chancellors serve for a single term of 5 years, questioning how their performance would be gauged.
The Vice Chancellor of a public university shall hold office for a term of 5 years and shall be eligible, eligible for further term of 5 years.
But they should be subjected to a competitive process.
Thank you. We've heard you.
Yes. Because what happened, they were not subjected to a competitive process. Members of the council sat, did evaluation, which the public did not know.
It is also proposing that the union be given representation in the Commission of University Education. Brenda Zeda Radido, Channel 1 News.
Now, pressure is mounting on the government to beef up the Nairobi Governor Mike Sonko's security. Now, we should be able to bring you that story in not too long a while, but in the meantime, the Kenya University Staff Union, that is KUSU, and the Interpublic Universities Council's Consultative Forum, that is IPPPCF or something close to that, have agreed to return to work in a deal that will see all court cases dropped and non-intimidation of members who participated in the recently called off lecturers' strike. Take a look at this story.
no member of staff will lose any of their benefits because of being on strike. We have also agreed that both parties, where possible, they shall withdraw all court cases pertaining to this particular dispute, so that we are beginning on a clean slate. On the part of the universities, they shall continue pursuing the aspect of the pension component of the previous CBAs that they have not paid to the various pension schemes of these members. They will pursue the parent ministry together with the treasury to ensure that these funds are availed, so that the members of staff in the universities can have their pension components paid to their respective.
Now, we wish to take a short break, but before we go away, I had asked you a question. Do you support the move to stop the transportation of mass transit buses, or the importation rather of mass transit buses by the NYS? And a lot of you have sent in your feedback. Arapiego from Uasin Gishu County, you say there is no need for the NYS to run away from business, or rather, you say, there is no need for the NYS to run any business in this country, please. That is Arapiego. And Amos Barry from Isiolo, you say, it is so malicious in its nature. Some officers tend to pretend that they have public interest at heart, but stealing from the same public. Somebody here says to be stopped totally. The masses, yes, you say it's to be stopped. Alan Babaludo from Mombasa, you say that NYS management should be left for the national youth leaders. The elderly management should only provide room for corruption, you say. Hezron Okello from Nigeria, you say that you support the idea and propose that it should not only be held but stopped completely. Once more, Samuel Omache from Kisii, you say, I really support the stopping of the buying of the buses. That is wasting money. I'm quoting you word for word. And finally, before we go in the break, Webson from Tasia, you say, no, do not stop it. It will help the common Wananchi the most. Those who need it to be stopped have cars that take them where they want to go. Keep them coming in. We'll sample them live. But before that, let's take a short break and we'll be right back.
The Easy Banking app is your bank anywhere, anytime. Everything you do at the bank is on Easy Banking app. You can use the app to send money, pay bills, buy and pay for goods and services, access easy loans, check the status of your account, save for future goals, and so much more. And now you can enjoy an even better banking experience with the just updated Easy Banking app. Loaded with a great suite of powerful features, so you're always in control of your banking lifestyle wherever you are. Download the Easy Banking app from Google Play Store or App Store and link your Equity Bank account. If you do not have an Equity Bank account, open one hapo from the app. Easy Banking. Experience convenience in life.
This week on KBC Channel 1.
It has to use a lot of foreign exchange to import crude oil from other countries.
If the country, the government, as we're talking now, can't even provide unga for the citizens, how do you expect it to provide nuclear power?
Kusimama na magoti, halafu unawekelea kidogo.
Kama kidogo, shika magoti. Nimesimama kama ngongoti.
Karibu katika mahanja. Welcome back. A voter has moved to court seeking orders to stop the Nairobi County Assembly from vetting and approving the nomination of controversial lawyer Miguna as the Nairobi Deputy Governor. John Waigi Migwi argues that Miguna is neither a Kenyan citizen nor a registered Jubilee Party member as required by law to serve in such a position.
The voter has moved to court seeking orders to gag Nairobi County Assembly from vetting and approving the nomination of Miguna as Deputy Governor. John Waigi Migwi, who claims to be a voter in Nairobi, argues that Miguna does not have relevant documentation to prove his Kenyan citizenship and that he is also not a registered Jubilee Party member. In an application filed under a certificate of urgency before the High Court, Migwi claims that Miguna's nomination failed to meet relevant qualifications, therefore rendering him unfit for the position owing to his association with the proscribed group, the NRM Kenya movement. Miguna's citizenship row is still an active matter in court, with the state having deported him twice, claiming he has never regularized his Kenyan citizenship after the adoption of a 2010 constitution that allows for dual citizenship. Governor Mike Sonko has defended the nomination of Miguna, claiming he was extending the handshake between President Uhuru Kenyatta and opposition chief Raila Odinga. John Jacob Curia, Channel 1 News.
Former women aspirants have called for a constitutional amendment to allow the nomination of women to parliament pushed to 21 days after the elections. The women argue that the move will help create a pool of quality leadership and help parliament achieve the two-thirds gender principle. The women have also called for strict adherence to the law by political parties to enable more women take up more elective positions.
Women lobby groups on Wednesday appeared before the National Assembly's Justice and Legal Affairs Committee to present their memoranda on the two-thirds gender bill.
That this is the 8th year since the promulgation of the Constitution. The 8th year. This is the only piece of legislation that has not passed as it has been envisaged. That the National Assembly is compelled by law to pass the Constitution of Kenya Amendment Act 2018. We call Parliament to order so that they recognize that the principle of equality is the pillar of the Constitution of Kenya.
The elusive parity has been the subject of litigation, with former women aspirants now calling for a change in tact if the inequity is to be evened.
So our proposal is that, I'm not sure whether it's Article 35 is amended, and probably the date that should be, the date by which the list of nominees should be 21 days after election, so that political parties will work together with IBC and compile the list of the quality of politicians who should be nominated, so that in the subsequent elections, then they can run and with the experience gained in the grace period get elected.
Out of the 290 elective seats in the National Assembly, women occupy only 23 positions. The massive inequity also dogs the Senate, where only 3 women out of the 47 senators occupy elective seats. In Kisumu County, women leaders staged a demonstration to exert pressure on their male counterparts to support the two-thirds gender bill.
Because women form over 50%, 52% of the population, so they should also have a fair hearing. So that is why we are here, and the men, please support us, because with the support of the men, we will succeed.
On Thursday, Friday and Monday, the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee will receive more memoranda on the bill in Machakos, Kakamega, Nyeri, Mombasa, Eldoret, Isiolo, Wajir and Lodwar. For Channel 1 News, I am Edward Kabasa.
A 13-year-old boy is nursing bullet wounds at the Nyahururu County Referral Hospital after being shot by suspected bandits. The Standard 8 pupil was grazing his father's cows when he was ambushed by the bandits in Olmoran area, Laikipia County.
John Kimani, a standard 8 pupil at Miharati Primary School, is the latest victim of runaway cases of criminality in Laikipia County after being shot by armed bandits in Mirigwiti village. According to the boy, he was ordered to stop before the gun-toting criminals fired at him twice. He sustained injuries on his stomach in the incident that drew condemnation from residents and local leaders. In Kiambu County, police in Ruiru are holding 3 suspects believed to be members of a criminal gang that has been terrorizing commuters along Bika Superhighway. The 3 were intercepted at Waki stage in Ruiru by detectives following a tip-off.
Tumefaulu kupata gari moja aina ya matatu ambayo ilikuwa inabeba abiria kutoka Ngara kuja Ruiru, na walipofika area ya Roysambu wakapora mwanadada moja. Walipofika area ya Kahawa pia wakapora mwanadada mwingine, na tuliweza kufuatilia hiyo gari na tukaishika katika stage moja hapa Ruiru inaitwa Waki stage. Walijaribu kukwepa mtego wa polisi, lakini tuliweza kufaulu kuwapata.
Area OSPD James Ngetich, who confirmed the incident, said they also recovered phones, assorted ID cards and SIM cards in the 14-seater matatu the suspects had boarded.
3 people have been confirmed dead following a deadly bandit attack in Loruco, Isiolo County. 2 other people are nursing gunshot wounds, while a dozen others are said to be missing. Details of this and more in our news making headlines in the counties.
Tension remains high in Loruco, Atan, Alamach and Ngaremara areas within Isiolo County following an attack that left behind a trail of death, destruction and loss of property. The attack left 3 people dead, 2 nursing serious injuries, while more others still missing.
Hali ya usalama imerudishwa na waanze kufanya biashara zao kama kawaida. Tuko nyanjani huko.
Elsewhere, 250 households from Samburu East are set to benefit from a drought-resilient camel breeding program spearheaded by the area county government. The administration says it will spend over 20 million shillings by providing a camel each to the families as part of its efforts to economically empower locals in the drought-prone area.
These animals are really good and can adapt in this lowland.
Meanwhile, more than 1,000 youths in Kajiado County have benefited from a sponsorship program at Masai Technical College, during which they will undergo practical training to boost self-employment upon graduation. The program, launched by Kajiado Governor Joseph Olelenku, is an initiative of the county government in partnership with Kenya Commercial Bank.
We want to assist as a people and as leaders to give our youth handout. We want to give our youth a hand to make them be able to sustain themselves.
And finally, Taita Taveta County plans to install a modern CT scan machine in Moi Referral Hospital in Voi in the next 3 months. The machine, according to the county government, will help to drastically cut costs for patients with chronic illnesses who for long have had to travel to either Mombasa or the neighboring Tanzania and Nairobi for treatment.
Within 2 months, we should be up and running. Just the CT scan project peke yake, it will more than half the referrals. Zitapunguka zaidi ya by more than half what we refer.
We take a bit of a break now, and after the break we'll come back with business news with Caroline Jenga, who's in the studio ready to brief you on the latest. After that, sports.
Every 4 minutes is a chance for you to win big with Mega Dollar. Just go to Lipa na M-Pesa, enter paybill number 295888, account name KBC, and amount from 10 shillings or more. Then select your 10 numbers from 1 to 80 and send to 29588. You can win up to 30 million shillings. Start playing now and win. Mega Dollar. Big winners every 4 minutes.
What up, man?
But it's so empty without you. Na pia Glenn.
By the way, you unafanya gogo?
Jaribu kwa ni pesa. Shiro aliniambia ukikopa urudishani.
Kami wasikopi.
Sasa unataka tusaidiane aje?
Si unisambaze credo ambao.
Namba. Mwas. Silikuishia home.
Ndio utafute manamba za wanaume hapa.
Ati wewe ndio umekuwa supermodel huku, si ndio?
Kwa nini nimefanya?
Time now to take a look at the latest in business. My name is Carol Jenga, and we kick off this bulletin with some sad news where new, more destructive species of fall armyworms have been reported in 4 African countries that could cause more havoc if they find their way into Kenya. This emerged during a stakeholders meeting between the government and the institutions who requested for 1 billion shillings funding for research to come up with ways to deal with fall armyworms reported in most parts of the country.
The fall armyworm menace continues to threaten the country's food security, with the worm so far destroying more than 800,000 hectares of maize in the country. And it seems that farmers may still not be out of the woods with a new and more destructive fall armyworm species being reported in Nigeria, Benin, Cameroon and Gabon, affecting potatoes, cassava, broccoli and amaranth plants, and is believed could cause more havoc if they find their way into Kenya.
We are also told that might be there is another seal worm coming. Professor, you tell us the name of that worm. That is also coming. All right. And already the one we are having, it has been described in America that it's a marriage without divorce. All right. Now are we going to become polygamous? Now that the other one is coming.
Though the government has to this effect set aside 600 million shillings this year to fight the worm, research institutions have requested for 1 billion shillings funding to facilitate research on possible ways of dealing with the worm and its management in the meantime.
We might spend about 600 million this season to fight the fall armyworm, but we have no choice.
Agriculture CS Mwangi Kiunjuri is however urging farmers to embrace modern technologies in fighting the worm, like the push and pull method that is known to hibernate during the rainy season.
After we fight the pest through this season, we should now establish where we need to go to so that we can follow it up, and that is the only way to suppress it. So that becomes a continuous fight against this pest.
The CS further noted that investigations are ongoing at the National Cereals and Produce Board over claims that traders are selling imported maize to the board, promising to take action on the perpetrators.
It is very clear that those people who are paid can be seen. They are known by names. They are known by the identification. We have their IDs. We know where they live. Or what we are saying is that they can hide, but they can learn, but they cannot hide.
Next, Kinjuri says will be an audit of some of the parastatals under his docket in order to stem graft and increase efficiency.
Now to some great news. President Uhuru Kenyatta is expected to flag off trucking of Kenya's ali oil from Lokichar in Turkana County on the 3rd of next month, in a move that will see Kenya join the League of Crude Oil Exporters. The ali oil pilot scheme is expected to utilize existing wells in Turkana County to produce 2,000 barrels of oil per day that will be transported to Mombasa by road.
It is from a meeting held today at State House in Nairobi, attended by the Kenya joint venture partners comprising Talo Oil, Africa Oil Corporation, Total, and Turkana County leaders that it was announced of Kenya's plans to start oil transportation from the Lokichar Basin to Mombasa. The meeting was a follow-up to another one held last week with leaders from Turkana County, where the agreement on revenue sharing from oil proceeds was reached, with 75% going to the national government, 20% to the county government, and 5% to the local community. The oil pilot scheme will utilize existing wells in Turkana County to produce 2,000 barrels of oil per day and will be transported to Mombasa by road. Today's meeting also agreed that the Kenya joint venture will continue to work closely with both the national and county governments in actualizing the early oil pilot scheme. The president announced the government's commitment towards intensifying exploration efforts, not just in Turkana but even in other prospective areas, following the establishment of a legal instrument guide on handling of the oil and gas sector in the country. Nicholas Nduati, NewsHour Business.
The success of Africa's Continental Free Trade Area Agreement is dependent on the success of regional integration and infrastructure development. EAC Cabinet Secretary Peter Munya, while reassuring that the LAPSET project is on course, said the project buys into the continental aspiration in infrastructure development as a key enabler for the economic development.
The LAPSET project is 48% complete, and the government is optimistic that the project, which is part of the Presidential Infrastructure Champion Initiative, PICI, will help the continental aspirations towards a more integrated and economically viable continent.
The LAPSET program is not just for the two neighboring countries, but it is also continental by our standards. This corridor feeds into the existing ones, such as the Great North Corridor from Cape Town to Cairo. But more important, it provides a platform and infrastructure for port-to-port business in the continent. The Presidential Infrastructure Champion Initiative is a critical impetus to the implementation of PINDA projects and the attainment of Agenda 2063.
The CS called for targeted and effective utilization of Africa's natural resources for the betterment of the continent while leveraging on the large population to act as a ready market.
African population is in the range of 1.2 billion people, and this does offer a very compact market for most goods and services.
Among the projects expected to drive regional and continental integration are the navigational line from Lake Victoria to the Mediterranean Sea over the River Nile, whose feasibility study is being financed by the African Development Bank and other member states.
The navigational line from Lake Victoria to the Mediterranean Sea via the River Nile project, Egypt has successfully completed the pre-feasibility studies which concluded that the project is feasible, and we're now undertaking the feasibility studies financed partly by the bank.
The meeting is expected to come up with a comprehensive PICI project status report that will be submitted to the African Union Heads of State Summit next month. Judith Akolo, Channel 1 Business.
Thank you, Judy Dakolo, for that report. The Kenya Revenue Authority and the National Bank of Kenya have entered into a memorandum of understanding to avail credit facilities and train at least 903 suppliers who include women, youth and persons living with disabilities, targeting government tenders. The move is aimed at ensuring KRA enhances tender allocation to special groups and adhering to the 30% threshold under the access to government procurement opportunities. Ronald Luwili has more details.
Access to government tenders for millions categorized as special group comprising women, youth and persons living with disabilities have been weighed down by limited knowledge on public procurement process, regulations, tax laws as well as lack of funds. The MOU between the Kenya Revenue Authority and National Bank of Kenya targets to ensure at least 903 suppliers are trained by the bank on procurement best practices and offered credit to meet supply obligations.
This product is around basically tapping what we call the supply chain financing. And we appreciate right from tendering to the delivery of goods and services to the payment and being able to abet that cycle. At times you face challenges. And as a bank, we are coming in to be able to be the bridge for those challenges.
KRA notes that in the current financial year, it has earmarked 325 million shillings, which is 30% of eligible contract to AGPO registered suppliers, with plans to increase the amount in future.
This MOU promotes collaboration between KRA and NBK in carrying out capacity building programs, and these will enhance cross-functional efficiency as well as product development, competitiveness, and value addition.
So far, KRA says it has awarded tenders to the disadvantaged groups totaling 330 million shillings, which exceeds its target by 0.5%.
KRA will provide them with courteous, efficient, and professional services. And KRA will also advise qualified suppliers on the LPO financing facility provided by the bank.
KRA is undertaking to make the payments for good supplies. Then the businessman and woman have their needs. They need to be able to purchase the merchandise that they are supplying. So how do we come in right from the LPO engagement up to the payment of those supplies through either invoice discounting and such?
A 2013 presidential directive to state agencies sought to allocate 30% of government tenders to the disadvantaged groups under the Access to Government Procurement Opportunities program. Ronald Willie, NewsHour Business.
Our story by Ronald Willie brings to a close business news for tonight. My name is Carol Jinga. Up next is the sports update. Have a good night and see you tomorrow. God bless.